So this film session is going to require, just a little bit of patience from you all, from the viewer, right? Because it's not really a normal film session for me, right? Where I just kind of walk in and break down a couple plays, then go home. This ain't that. I'm gonna break down some plays and show y'all some stuff, but at the end, I just want to talk about Greg Rousseau, the prospect that he is, just to get my overall thoughts about him. Because I know I can hop on this thing and sound a certain way sometimes, and people will take that vibe and just say, "Oh, this is what Voch thinks of that player." And to an extent it is, but I think there needs to be a lot of detail and a lot of, setting up to talk about Greg Rousseau. Okay. So this is the short form film session. First of all, thank you all for being here. If y'all want to see the longer version of this, I took a look at 3 games over on my Patreon. So patreon.com/vochlombardiyt, 4 games actually. So there's a 2-hour film session over there. That link is in the description. Y'all go check that out. But what I like to do on these shorter joints is to, first of all, start off with a summary play of, just the general idea of what the player is, and then we'll kind of get into more. So Greg Rousseau, defensive end, Miami. He's the left defensive end right here. I'm going to identify him. And this is a good summary play for Greg Rousseau. We got some Florida today, some Virginia Tech, and if the YouTube Illuminati don't get me, some Florida State. So we'll check it out and we'll see what happens. I think this is a really good representation of what Greg Rousseau really is. He's a guy that's gonna be outside. Okay, he is a outside defensive end pass rusher guy. And if you look at him, he's kind of tall, he's long, he's thin. That could work to his disadvantage. You see just how he navigates inside. Just some of these movements here, they're kind of lanky and stiff. We'll talk more about that later. But he's gonna get production over guards because he's long and he's a little quicker than them. Right. That's a great summary of Greg Rousseau. And trust me, we're going to be breaking down a lot more of them. So, just kind of hang tight and just, hear me out, please. So let's take a look at Greg Rousseau here, right? He's lined up, head up over the center. He's playing 0 right now. Strange because he's a tall, slender cat. You would imagine that he'll be perfect for the outside, but regardless of his frame, he just gets better production on the inside, right? Let's just take a look at this play and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. But that seems to be where Miami likes to line him up, and he makes a play here. He's actually really good in run defense, so I'm gonna give him credit there. But what he does, and I have a lot, to gripe about, his technique and things like that. But if there's anything, he's long. See him using his length right there? Take a look at how he's going to utilize his left arm to keep the offensive lineman off of him. That's where he gets a lot of his wins. He doesn't win in the first portion of the block. You know what I mean? Like the engagement, the ball get off, the setup moves. He doesn't win there. Where he wins is he'll get blocked. Technically, but he's so long, he keeps people off of him, and he just gets free because nobody can really get good engagement on him. You see what I mean? So he'll end up winning with some of these offensive linemen that don't fully, that don't fully get hands inside the chest plate or whatever. I don't think that's going to work on the next level. Let's keep watching. Something else nice I can say about Greg Rousseau, you take a look at him at the left defensive end. He has a lot of natural strength, and that's really going to help him because he's super raw, y'all. He's super, super raw, doesn't have a good idea for what his technique really is. I don't even think he's in his grown man body yet. But just a lot of natural strength for such a small, slender dude. Not even small, he's tall guy, but just for such a slim guy. So what's going to happen, he's going to get those NFL peanut butter sandwiches, and they're going to make him bigger and stronger. But even with that, right? Like, where do you play him? Where do you put him? He's doing this to Kyle Pitts right now, which is cool. You know what I mean? He's doing it to a receiving tight end that was once a receiver, but are you going to be able to do that against the tackles on the next level? That's the big question. And just another example of him lined up inside. Man, it's weird, but it makes sense though, because for the most part, you see DCs do this all the time. They'll line up their best, their best pass rusher, their best D lineman. They'll just line them up and put them against, the center or something. They'll just line them up, head up over the center, just kind of let them rock. I don't think that fits Rousseau and his skill set. I don't think you're doing him very much favors by lining him up inside with those big guys, especially on the next level. Now, is he a guy that's productive? Sure, and I think that's kind of why he went pro. Now, if you want to take a look at it from a business standpoint, he's absolutely doing the right thing. He's going to get 1 year with a gang of sacks and a gang of hype. Come on out, go pro, get your money. From a business standpoint, that makes sense. From a football standpoint, you have a lot more to prove, sir. And this is probably like the worst. Greg Rousseau is the worst person that could have missed out on football this year. I think he could have used another year to just, work in that program and, to get a little better, work on his technique to refine himself a little bit. He's a bit raw, but when you're raw in the league, you need your talents to be way better than everybody else's, right? I think he's a super talented raw dude, but I don't think his rawness is going to be enough to get him over the edge. I saw someone compare him to Alden Smith, and that's cool, but Alden Smith was a super twitchy, super strong dude. I think Rousseau is strong for his size, but I wouldn't call him super twitchy guy to where that his natural abilities can overcome his lack of technique. You see what I'm saying? Let's get into another example. The one thing I'm going to constantly gripe at about, and this is a great film for it. This is the Louisville game, right? Sometimes you can be too tall as a D end. I think that natural sweet spot for those guys is like 5'5", 5'6". It takes a very special D end to be 5'7" with long legs and still be effective, because sometimes being super tall, it's bad for your body mechanics. It's bad for your ball get off. It's bad for your ability to turn, especially if you stiff. Take a look at Greg Rousseau right here, right? And he's not always ball get off guy. Look at those big long ass slender man steps he's taking right here. This isn't very bursty, Now, if he's a tall power edge rusher, in which he kind of is in college, but I don't see him projecting to be a tall, long edge rusher power dude, on the next level. He's projecting to be a twitchy guy because that's how he's built, but he's not that. You see what I mean? Not a lot of ball get off, not a lot of twitch, not a lot of not a lot of looseness in his hips. He's very stiff, and I have problems with that. I have problems with how that translates. And you can just really watch this whole Louisville game. Check him out again. He's the left defensive end for the most part. Now he's good at. Watch this again, right? If he ain't got to move very much, he can just kind of be powerful and just kind of punch people and get off blocks. That kind of works for him. I don't know if that works next level. You see what I'm saying? I just don't know if that works for him. Using his length, these long arms, right? Keeping guys off him. Now, granted, is this soft as hell by the right tackle? Let me see. He kind of caught him, man. I mean, that's just the technique of the right tackle. I mean, you just want to get Rousseau upfield, but right tackle, hit that guy, quit playing. But, Greg can just kind of use his length to get guys off of him. But if he used that length to get guys off of him, paired with good ball get-offs, paired with good twitchiness, paired with some good quickness, paired with some good technique, then we'll be looking at Greg Rousseau as one of those Chase Young kind of guys. I don't think we can look at Greg Rousseau as a Chase Young kind of guy. You see what I'm saying? He's not on the field here. Let me jump around. Hang tight. Take a look at Greg Rousseau here. He's your left defensive end. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. When he lines up inside, his ball get off's a little better because he's dealing with just slower people in there. But out on this island, he's not ball get off guy, right? Take a look at him. Just not really coming off the ball violently like I want him to. He's not just super engaging with that right tackle like I want. You know what I mean? His natural gifts are really, really getting him by. But his natural gifts aren't enough, in my personal opinion, to translate that. Solid guy in the run game, though. Solid in the run game. But I mean, if you're gonna be one of those guys, I don't think you're getting drafted top 5 just to be considered like, good run game guy. Like you need a little more. And let me just be like fair to y'all and just like break this down a little bit. Most of my criticism, not only just comes from the player, but the notion that the player is going to be drafted top 5, or the notion that the player is being ranked as a top 5 prospect. I'm not looking at him as a top 5 prospect guy. He is a project guy. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to bring this dude in, maybe sit him for a couple years and see what you get out of him, that's cool. But that's not a guy that you get in the top 5. That's a dude that you get in the 30 somewhere. You see what I'm saying? That's just my thoughts. Now, will some team do it because teams don't draft very well? Some team would do it, sure. Greg Rousseau, left defensive end. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does here. Will somebody do it? Yeah, man, somebody will do it. But a little wasted motion there, kind of high, gave up his chest plate, long and stiff and lanky. I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan. We're gonna break down some other pass rushers like Carlos Basham and Kwity Paye. Later on, we're gonna break those guys down, and those dudes twitch their ass off, and they strong. Not really getting that from your boy Rousseau here. He's at left defensive end. Let's just watch him on this play. I ain't even breaking down notes now. We're just looking at him, right? We're just running plays and looking at him, right? Ball get off, kind of stiff. Not doing it for me. Not really doing it for me. But he has production, and his production, those sack numbers, that's probably why he's one of the he's playing contain here. That's a slow ass contain though. He's projected high because of that, that 2019 year we got those big numbers, it's just listen, man, he got most of those sacks versus terrible offensive line play. And I ain't hating on him, but I guess I just had to break that down too for y'all a little bit. Look at this, right? Watch this. Look at this like change of direction. When we watched, let me pause. Like when we watched Chase Young last year, like Chase Young was like a machine almost, right? Take a look at Greg Rousseau, how he comes off the ball, how he runs, and then how he changes direction to get back outside. Like this ain't even linebacker stuff. Like, look at that. Look at that. My goodness, man. Look, and he's gonna be training in the offseason to fix a lot of this stuff, and I hope he does. I hope he eventually works on that, but boy, it's just that's a little rough for me, man. I got to play here before I move on to some other stuff. I had him making a play here, but the guy blocking him was terrible. Yeah, he's just making better plays here. I don't know why the offensive lineman just keeping one foot in the ground and bouncing around with him. I don't know, man. Moving on. Yeah, so I thought about showing the Florida State game, just a handful of plays there, but I didn't want my bad, y'all. I didn't want the YouTube Illuminati to hit me and take the video down, so I just chose to leave that out because of the broadcast view. But y'all can go on YouTube, type in Greg Rousseau versus Florida State, and you'll see the game. Now that was a big game for him. That was like a 4-sack game. And when you see it on paper, you go, man, what happened in this 4-sack game? I want y'all to go over there and look at it. And just like you can do it to the sound of my voice if you want to, right? But just take the notion that he did this versus some of the worst guard play I've ever seen in my life. If you just see him beat up on these guards with his quickness and just the slow footedness of the guards in this game, you can see that in the Pittsburgh game as well. All those are on the internet. You can go find them. But if you just see him beat up on those teams in particular, man, it's just not very impressive. This is the conversation portion, by the way. If you only came for the film, we're done with film. If you want more film, go to patreon.com/vochlombardiyt to see 2 hours of me breaking down Greg Rousseau. But this is just a conversation. I just kind of want to put everything in context now. So when he's winning, he's lined up inside. He's being long and quicker than guards. But of course, that's not going to be what he is on the next level. He's going to be a defensive end, or due to his size, he might be a stand-up outside linebacker on the next level. Now, his natural strength, I will give him that. He is a naturally powerful dude. And if you can get a dude that size and make him powerful, then that's a very rare trait. The problem is he don't play like a dude his size. He play like somebody bigger than him. But that's not always good because you need him to play like somebody his size. You see what I'm saying? That just doesn't work for Rousseau. Now, can he fix some of these problems? I mean, I don't know if you can fix hip stiffness. I'm sure there's some drills you can work on, but his length is really giving him problems turning, which is why I don't see him projecting as an outside linebacker type dude. He's just a flat-out defensive end type guy, and he's going to have to gain some weight, but you don't want to make him gain so much weight that he can't move anymore. Not that he's great at moving now, but there has to be this window, this window of size that works for him. Can he figure it out and be good in the league? I mean, look, man, anything can happen, man. I'm not naive enough to look at any draft prospect and say they can't be good or they can't, they can't be bad. There aren't any surefire things in draft season. Y'all know that, but I reserve the right to not be fans of guys. And I'm not really a fan of Greg Rousseau, especially not where he's being projected in the top 5, top 10 somewhere. I'm not even taking him top 20. He's possibly an early second round pick to me, and I still wouldn't even take him there because when you get into the other second round defensive ends, I would rank them over him. It's just that I guess if you don't mind taking on the project, the ceiling looks good. To where you could take a guy with natural length and natural strength. If you can just get him a little less stiff, and fit him into a role, he'll be good for you. It just seems, it's just a bit too complicated for me to figure out. I'm just not an expert in that way to where you can give me Greg Rousseau and be like, hey, coach him. I wouldn't know what the hell to do with him, but maybe that's why I'm not coaching in the National Football League. I would love to hear y'all thoughts on Greg Rousseau. It'll be very interesting to kind of, just get some takes on him. Would you take him? Where would you take him? Where you want to draft this guy at? Are you a Miami fan and you think I'm stupid? Well, let me know all that good stuff in the comment sections. Let me know. If y'all want to keep up, we've actually watched a lot more film over on Patreon than we have on YouTube. So if you want the full version of these videos, we've taken a look at Panay Sewell, Greg Rousseau, of course, Carlos Basham already. We've seen Marvin Wilson, guys, like Patrick Surtain, like Marvin Wilson. I think I said Marvin Wilson. Michael Parsons, pardon me. If y'all want to see any long-form film sessions of those guys, we got a lot on the way. Go over to patreon.com/vochlombardiyt and check that out. We doing some long form over there. And hey, man, y'all just hang out until the next time I drop one of these films. Y'all hold it down for the Doski Wolski Peasky Whiskey, man. And Greg Rousseau will be the type of player to come out and be the best defensive end in the league just because I don't like him. All right, man. Peace.